Hey y'all, welcome to Coffee Breaking Crime. It's your host Crystal.
And Celine.
Grab your mug, sit back, relax, and unwind while we get into today's mystery.
Hey everyone. So, welcome to our first episode.
Hey.
So exciting. So, I have to say that I was very surprised at the amount of support we have received.
Yes, we are so excited about the support that we've been getting.
Yeah, so many positive reactions we got from our Facebook posts announcing the podcast and the Instagram.
Yes, we've gotten supporters on Instagram. We've also already got people who subscribe to the podcast before we even put out our first episode. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we're really forever grateful. We appreciate it for sure, all of the support.
Yeah, it's great to see that people support us and are interested in the cases that we want to shine some light on. And honestly, it's super awesome that we already have people that are subscribing to us and it's motivating us. So if y'all haven't subscribed to our Instagram, go ahead and look for us, Coffee Break and Crime. We're going to link it in the show notes. And we will be getting a Facebook page soon. And when we do, we'll link that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure you follow us. So, first and foremost, Crystal, what's in your cup today?
So today I have cold brew, my usual. It's either always cold brew or iced coffee, but today I'm doing cold brew with a little bit of caramel creamer.
Oh, that sounds good.
It is.
Yeah, I'm keeping it quite simple today. Just a nice hot cup of coffee and splash of almond milk. It's my go to.
Mhm.
So, we hope that you have your coffee of choice.
And y'all don't hesitate to go on Instagram and post us with what are y'all favorite coffees. We'll have conversations going on there, and of course when we open our Facebook page, we'll be able to have more interaction with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we can go ahead and get right into it. Today, we are talking about the unsolved case of Kanika Powell. So, the interesting thing about this case, especially to me, is that it's a very intriguing case, and there are so many unanswered questions around this particular case. But there has not been a lot of media coverage. I could not find any documentaries or anything. Most of what I did find were some very old articles and a few podcasts, which, as far as on the podcast front, is good knowing that people are trying to keep Kanika's story out there.
Cool. So let me ask you, how old is this case?
So actually, this case it's going to be about 14 years this year.
Okay, okay. So it's newer but not fresh.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So, right off the bat, there isn't a ton of information regarding Kanika's personal life, but she was born on January 1st, 1980, in Mitchellville, Maryland, to her mother, Judy Powell. And we do know that she had three siblings, Eric, Trina, and Jamal. Her mother later married her Kanika's stepdad, David Forrest, so she is now Judy Forrest. And as a child, Kanika's mother described her as, she says she was feisty, she was fast, she was adorable. She was just basically a fun little kid, and they all just had a great time being around her and raising her. So just a great kid to be around.
Awesome. Do we know what area they're from?
Mitchellville, Maryland.
Oh, did you say that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I missed it. Sorry.
It's okay. We'll edit that out. So, Kanika graduated from Largo High School in 1998. And then after she graduated, she spent a little bit of time, just trying to figure out what to do next. We don't all know exactly what our plan is after high school.
Most of us
And
don't.
right, exactly. And that was Kanika. But to the surprise of everyone, her friends and her family, 2 years after graduation, she enlisted in the United States Army.
Okay.
So, yeah, she was um, wanted to serve her country. So,
Okay.
she served in Korea, and once her tour of 4 years was completed, she returned back home to the Prince George's County area in Maryland. Now, everyone, her friends and her family, they describe Kanika as someone that you would love, someone that everyone loved. She was warm, loving, she had a great smile. She was just an overall great person. She was very determined, hardworking, and she was a very ambitious young woman. She again, just an overall really great person. She was considered to be intelligent and level headed, which I guess you can kind of go back to her taking her time after high school, trying to decide exactly what she wanted to do, and then eventually, enlisting in the military.
Right. Very mature.
Yeah, absolutely. So she did maintain a very close relationship with her mother, and they spoke very frequently, like almost every day. She also kept in touch with her friends. She spent time with them, girls dates, going eat out, hanging out, things like that. So she did maintain good relationships even after once she came back from Korea. So in 2004, Kanika seemed to have landed her dream job as a security contractor at John Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory in Laurel, Maryland. Or,
Girl, what is that?
I know that was a mouthful, right? Or the APL, which is what we'll go ahead and call it from now on. Okay, the
Okay.
APL. Okay, so there's not much known about Kanika's job, but she started this job in, like I said, in 2004 as a contractor. But she was obviously really good at her job, which we've already established. She was determined, ambitious, intelligent. She was a smart girl.
Mm-hmm.
And they made her a full-time employee just 2 years later in 2006.
Okay.
So she was this, like I said, this was a dream job for her. Um, Now, if this job required a top level security clearance, and still to this day, the APL has not disclosed exactly what her job entailed or even her official job title.
Wow.
Yeah, we just don't know
That's
what
some
she did
serious
there.
stuff.
Right, exactly. We just don't know what she did there, and that's just how top secret it was.
Right.
Um, from what I could find, according to the Washington Post, the APL has over 400 national security and other research projects that are done in conjunction with the Department of Homeland Security. So, again, pretty top secret, right?
Yeah.
So, but we still don't even know what lab she worked in, what her position was. We don't know what she did. There's just no information about her job specifically.
Right.
But even still, Kanika took her job very seriously. She didn't discuss work with her friends or family. She took her security clearance very seriously. I mean, could you imagine not talking about your work life with your family at all, not discussing
No,
with
I couldn't imagine not talking about what I'm doing with my husband,
them?
my
Right.
mom. So you got to be really, really, really focused and on your stuff to be that way because I couldn't do it.
I agree. Like just going to work, I want to call you and vent to you about what happened
Right.
with people. You need to kind of vent and get things out so you don't become frustrated. But I mean, she was obviously very devoted to her job to be able to just keep all of that inside. I'm sure
That's
it was some
crazy.
exciting things that she worked on too.
I'm sure.
So Not only did she was she not able to discuss work with her friends or family, she also had to travel a lot for her job. She would go on like these trips, these business trips, sometimes making trips to Florida and California. Her mom said that she would ask Kanika, where are you going? Where are you going this time? And her response was always the same: Mom, I can't tell you that.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's pretty. I don't want to say suspicious, but
But she had to be. And could
I
you
know.
imagine the mom? Like, you don't know what your daughter is up to. You just have to trust that she's doing what she has to do.
Right. You just
But
have
you
to,
don't know where she's going, where she's at,
and
what's her
probably
job.
worrying all the time.
Right.
So, yeah, I couldn't even imagine, honestly. Um, no one was allowed to know the nature of these business trips she went on. She couldn't, share her location. You and I, when we travel, we share our location so we know where each other is at in case
Yeah.
you know, for safety purposes. She could, that's not, obviously, this wasn't something back then, but she wouldn't be able to just say, hey, I'm going to be at this place or I'm staying at this hotel. She couldn't release any type of information like that.
Right.
But Kanika still loved her job. She loved what she did. So I guess that was her motivation. So during this time, Kanika was living alone in a nice, quiet apartment complex in Laurel, Maryland. It's in the same city as her job at the APL, and it also wasn't too far away from where she grew up. So she was kind of right in the middle between her job and where her family was located. So things were going well for her. She had a job she loved and she seemed to have a nice life work life balance. Like we said, she still had this super top secret job and she still went out with her friends and did all the things that young women do, hanging out with your friends, going eat, girls nights, all of that, and still
Right.
maintaining a really close relationship with her mom.
That's cool.
So about 2 years after becoming full-time at her position at the APL in August of 2008, everything changed for Kanika. So on the evening of August 23rd, 2008, Kanika had an unnerving experience. A man showed up at her home and knocked on the door. She didn't open the door, but through the peephole, the man told her that he was an FBI agent.
What? I wonder
Right,
if
but
that was normal for her having such a top secret job.
well, I mean, it really freaked her out because on top of him announcing that he was an FBI agent, he addressed her by her full name, said that he was
Oh,
looking for Kanika Powell, and he flashed a badge in the peephole. So,
wow.
it really freaked her out, but he eventually backed off because, she insisted that he show her some kind of identification.
Okay. So he flashed a badge, but not an ID.
Right,
It
right.
wasn't
So,
the badge wasn't enough for her to believe him.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So this experience it made her very nervous enough for on the Monday following this on August 25th, she sat down and sent an email to her family and friends. So I'm just going to read the email and then we'll kind of just talk about it and give me your opinion on it.
Okay.
I just wanted to share with you the scariest thing that happened to me this weekend. Saturday evening around 7 p.m., a man was knocking at my door. As all of you may know, I live alone. I asked who it was and he didn't answer. So once I got close to the door and looked out of the peephole, I saw a male figure that was not familiar to me at all. I asked who he was, and all he stated was that he was from the FBI and that he was looking for Kanika Powell. It freaked me out completely because this man knew my name. He held a shield up, but no picture ID, and he never gave his name. He told me he was looking for me in regards to an investigation. I told him that I had no idea as to what he was talking about and that he would need to show me some documentation as well as a warrant of some sort. So he left, and I looked out of my bedroom window and saw him walking. I also heard a voice tell him to walk in the opposite direction. The whole
Ooh.
situation was scary and seemed so false. So, because of this incident, not only did I get no sleep for the rest of the weekend, but I am now trying to get an alarm system installed in my apartment. I had one in my old apartment, but I just hadn't had it transferred over to my new one. As far as everything that happened with the guy, I did call the FBI and they told me that it was more than likely bogus because they never come to your door by themselves and they always leave a card of some sort so that you can contact them. I
Hmm.
called the local police as well to give them a description just in case someone is out there trying to rape or harm single women. Pass this on, ladies. This is not a fake forward. This happened to me, Kanika. Who knows who these guys are and what they are doing and in what areas other than mine?
Wow. I don't know where this story is going, but is because she's right. Like, even if it's not a FBI, I've never come in contact with FBI agents, but regular police officers will leave you a card. Even if you
Right,
just get in an accident, they'll leave their card. So why wouldn't an FBI agent leave a card, have more documentation, and what investigation is he doing alone
right,
with
exactly.
no ID? And the fact that she says that she heard somebody tell him walk in the opposite direction. So that means he wasn't even alone.
Right. That's the
So that
crazy
means
part.
it's at least two
Two.
people.
Yeah, at least.
So if she would open that door, there's no telling what was on the other end,
But
who he was.
she's very smart about it. She didn't open the door,
Right.
um, and asked to see identification because I mean, if you're sitting at home alone and then someone knocks at the door and they're like FBI, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna kind of be like, oh my gosh, the FBI is here, let me open the door, you
I mean,
know?
I don't know, because I'm thinking about, like, I have a thing where if my husband Joseph's not home, I won't open the door if I don't know who they are. But I have, it's 2022. I have a ring on my door so
Hmm.
I can talk through the ring and talk to them. But in 14 years ago, we didn't have that technology. I can see myself opening a door if they say they're a police officer.
FBI or
Yeah,
police.
especially FBI, because you're like, wait, what? And I mean, she was smarter because she worked in top secret agencies or whatever. So she maybe had more knowledge, but as like a regular civilian sitting
Hmm.
home and someone says they're FBI, they flash a badge. You don't know what an FBI badge looks like. All you know
Right,
is what you see on
exactly.
TV.
Exactly.
So you may open the door because
Yeah.
you're thinking if you don't, you're in trouble.
Right. You're just like, okay, the law is here. The
Right.
FBI is
The
here. What's
law
going
people are outside. Like, I gotta open the door. Well, now we know you asked for ID.
on?
You don't
Right.
open that
Now
door.
we
I,
know. You hear
yeah,
that, ladies? Ask for an ID. Ask to see an ID, not just a
right.
badge.
And yeah, and get a ring doorbell, people,
And
or
it's
some sort of security.
camera security.
Yeah.
And I mean, according to her email, this was after I think 7 p.m. She said a little bit after 7. So I mean, it's kind of late for them to just show up.
Oh yeah. Because depending on what time of the year it is, it could be dark outside at 7.
Well, it's August, so it's summer, so we're still in like the long days. So, but the sun probably was just like starting to set,
Right.
and someone strange knocking at your door, especially you're not expecting anyone. She lived alone. You know, she wasn't expecting anyone, so I would have been really freaked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, according to Kanika's mother, she was very shaken up after this encounter with this strange man. And she told her mom that the badge looked fake.
Oh, okay.
So, I think that's what prompted the request for identification.
They came with the bubblegum badge.
So, she, she did call her mom, but she also did call 911, and the police arrived at her home pretty quickly in about 4 minutes. And they looked around, they canvassed the area, but they found no trace of these men. They found nothing.
Wow, in 4 minutes they were gone.
Yeah,
I would be interested to know how they were dressed.
yeah, yeah. I did go online and I tried, but there's no description of the men. Like, there's nothing online that has her description of what these men look like.
Okay.
Like what was their race, how tall were they, what were they wearing. There's nothing about the men in detail, so that's pretty
Okay.
weird.
Yeah.
um as she stated in the email, she reported the incident to the FBI, and they had confirmed that, they did not send anyone to her apartment. So Kanika's, she's kind of confused. And at the time, she's thinking, okay, maybe this is some kind of scam some people are running. Obviously, they're, knocking on her door to get her to open the door. There's a nefarious reason behind it. They're not just,
Right.
trying to sell her something, but she's thinking maybe there's some type of scam, or like she said in the letter, maybe they're raping women or harassing women or assaulting women, something like that. So she's just kind of seeing it like that.
No, but they knew her name.
But they knew her name.
So that's
Exactly.
odd. They know your name and
Exactly.
you've never seen them before.
Yeah. I don't know how we'll react to that. Someone like,
Yeah, now that's a different thing. They say your name. Yeah.
yeah. So, like, yeah, she thought possibly she was a target of some kind of scam. But another incident soon changed her mind and started to make her feel specifically targeted. On August 27th, which is, about 4 days after the first incident, a different man came to her door.
Oh no.
And just like the first one, a few days prior, he addressed Kanika by her full name. He
Oh
knew her
wow.
name as well. But this man claimed that he was delivering a package.
What?
So, once again, Kanika, she's a smart lady, right? She refused to open the door. She was not going to open the door. She didn't recognize the man. She didn't open the door. And the man left, but he left claiming that, okay, he's going to go and get the package. I'm going to go get your package.
So he showed up to a door with no package?
Exactly, which is strange, right? I was just going to say that. He came to the door with, what delivery person comes to the door with no package?
No delivery man I ever seen. Why would they take two trips to the door?
Right. You're delivering a package, but you leave it in the truck to,
Mm-mm.
right. Exactly. So either way, he never returned. He didn't come back.
There was
There,
no
right.
package.
There was no package. There was no note saying, hey, we missed you. You know how they do that. Come get your package.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
nothing. So, now she's starting to feel like, again, like this is something about her specifically. Maybe it's
Oh
not just
yeah.
a general scam in the area. She's starting to get nervous. Now,
Yeah.
the
Rightfully
next,
so.
yeah, the next day, another man came to the door.
Oh no, no ma'am. What did
He
this one want?
he used her full name, and this man also said that he was delivering a package for her.
The
Now,
same package as dude number two?
I'm I don't know. This was August 28th, and August 28th, 2008 fell on a Thursday, but it was like 7:30 in the morning. So I don't know about you, but I've never received a package that early.
Not 7:30.
Not in the morning. No, not
No.
that early.
Mm-mm.
So Kanika was understandably frightened. And again, she didn't open the door. And this time she even called her mom. I mean, she was probably extremely scared and shaken at this point. I mean, like,
Yeah.
this is the third encounter. And from what I'm understanding, it was different men, like three different men that just somehow know your name and they're coming to your door for absolutely no reason.
That is really, really crazy.
So she was concerned as to why the man was trying to deliver a package so early in the morning.
And where's the package, sir?
Right. So she once again called the police. They came out, and but they did not find this man. No trace of the man. They they had nothing. So Kanika was actually going out of town the next day for work, one of her business trips for the lab. And again, like, us as women, we can kind of understand how freaked out she is at this point. Us
Right.
as human can kind of figure out, how she's
Yeah.
freaked out at this point, because no matter who you are, some strange person is coming to your door, um, three times in a row, calling you out by your name, lying, trying to get into your home under false pretenses. You're gonna be scared.
Right.
So she decided that she wanted to be cautious, and she took the day off because she had some errands to run. And so she took the day off and figured, let me get my, this is kind of weird. These men keep showing up to my house. Let me get my errands done during the day. I don't want to be out late after work trying to get my errands completed. So she thought it would be safer to get all of her errands and, whatever she had to do before her business trip done during the day,
Mhm.
which is a good plan if you
Right.
want to be honest. So she left her apartment to go ahead and run her errands for a few hours, and she returned back home a bit before noon.
Okay.
But tragically, someone was waiting in the hallway, and
Oh
they
no.
they shot Kanika several times with a
N-
handgun that
No.
still to this day has not been recovered.
No. So her apartment was in a hallway.
Yeah, it's like one of those indoor like apartment complexes where you go into
Yeah.
a building and then there's doors leading into the apartments.
Yeah. I've lived in one like that before.
Yeah. So the
Oh
police
man.
the police received the call around 11:50 a.m. that morning, and Kanika was rushed to the hospital. She never regained consciousness, and she died from her injuries the next day on August 29th, 2008.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
So somebody really, really was targeting her. So if
exactly.
she would have opened that door, I'm feeling like they would have just shot her
Yeah,
because they didn't want anything else from her if they just shot her in the hallway.
exactly. And Kanika's murder left law enforcement completely baffled. Her keys and her wallet was found next to her body.
It
So,
wasn't a robbery.
exactly, robbery as a motive was completely ruled out. They, like I said, they were baffled. They were confused. She had no known enemies, no spurned lover. She didn't engage in what police consider risky behavior. Um, they looked into possible gang activity. She just didn't do anything. There was nothing. And then they also went on to claim that they did not believe that her murder had anything to do with her job. And a spokesman actually for the APL, for the lab, told reporters that, quote, it was premature to speculate on whether Kanika's death had any connection to her work. He also refused to specify the lab Kanika worked in or her title, citing, it was because of the nature of her work. So this led police to kind of rule out that her job was the cause of her murder,
They ruled it out because the job said to rule it out.
pretty much.
Okay.
But it's sad, right? I mean, the case, the whole story is like, it's strange because Kanika did everything right. She did everything that she was supposed to do. She didn't
Yeah.
open the door for strange men. She contacted the police immediately. She did everything. She reported everything. She even reported it to her apartment complex. That first time when that man showed up, she's done everything that she was supposed to do, and she still ended up being murdered. So it's just a sad
Even
story.
the day of the murder, she took precautions not to be coming in her
Yes.
house late,
Yeah.
and they waited for her.
And they waited for her. She just seemed to have so much going for her and a bright future ahead of her. And it's, just tragically in this short. It's just a sad story.
Yeah. And I feel like there's almost nothing that she would have been able to do to prevent it, because she was literally targeted. Whoever did this knew who she was.
Hmm.
It because you can't tell me that three people coming to your door knowing your name had nothing to do with your murder.
Possibly four, because that man who said walk in the opposite direction that she heard,
True. True.
possibly four.
True.
Yeah,
So
it's
who would want her to be murdered and have so many people willing to carry it out?
that's the question. That's the question.
So how far did the investigation go? Did it go cold? Like,
I mean, yeah. So it's still unsolved. It's still unsolved, but there are some theories that we can
okay,
get into for sure. Um, the first theory that I did find, there's a whole thread, a few threads actually on Reddit, and specifically in the unsolved mysteries, unsolved crimes thread.
okay,
So I did kind of look through theories and see what people were thinking. The first one is that her murder seems weirdly connected to another, and I say weirdly because it's very thin.
mhm,
It's kind of like, but there's no real connection. So
okay,
on November 12, 2008, a little under 3 months after Kanika's death, a man named Sean Green was shot 9 times and killed by a masked gunman. He was actually in his car at a red light, approximately 30 minutes away from Kanika's apartment.
okay,
So eyewitnesses at the scene claimed that the attack seemed very personal and he was definitely the target. Like it was just about him, you know?
okay,
Um, Now, Sean's family said that he made this same trip, the same route very frequently from his apartment. He was on his way to the gym. He did it very frequently around the same time every time he did this. Every I don't know if he went to the gym every day, but it was always around the same time he would make this trip from his apartment to the gym and then from the gym back to his apartment.
mhm,
So they possibly knew that that was his routine. Um, Also, he was a loving family man who loved his job, similar to Kanika. He also didn't have many enemies. They couldn't find any, again, risky behavior, what the police call it. No spurned lovers, no enemies, nothing. He was a homebody. And a connection was made by the Washington Post that kind of first brought this whole like, are these two cases connected? Because
mhm,
their jobs were very similar. And it was speculated that their jobs could have something to do with their deaths. Sean worked at the National Counterterrorism Center in McLean, Virginia. So like what ties these cases is both of these cases had a clear lack of motive. No one knows why someone would want these two people dead. They were both single and living alone, no criminal histories, and they both had really high security clearances.
And did they ever find his murderer?
Nope.
Wow.
Also added to mention they were both shot multiple times. So like there
Okay.
are some similarities, but there's no clear cut evidence connecting them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But the Prince George's County Police have insisted that there's no indication the two killings are connected. So
So there's no witnesses for Kanika.
no witnesses for Kanika, witness for Sean, but the person, I should say, who shot him was masked, so no one really saw who it was. But
And the
it's
thing about Kanika is the people who were coming to her door were unmasked.
right, right, right. That's that brings us to another theory, actually, that there's a lot of people who thinks that Kanika was a victim of a professional hit, possibly for her job or something to do with her job. And while it seems plausible, something about it just doesn't sit right with me personally, because based on what we know, we're dealing with 3 to 4 men. Why would they need so many different men to, take out one woman? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I was thinking it was a hit as well, but who hires four hitmen?
Right.
But it was very like to me it kind of seemed like it was in the style of a hit. Like they were it to me, if she would have opened that door, they would have shot her right then and there.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they wanted anything from her, because if they did, they wouldn't have shot her straight when she walked up. They would have forced her into her apartment or something. If they wanted anything, sexual assault, robbery, they would have took something. So who would want just to point blank shoot somebody? Unless, I mean, I don't know.
And but
That's
at
an
the
odd
same
one.
right, but at the same time, they could have ambushed her anytime. They could have shot her on the street, like
Mhm.
Sean Green. It would they could have done so many more things way more discreet instead of showing their face in the peephole.
That is really really odd. Showing up to someone's house unmasked, knocking on the door.
Right. And kind of here with this theory, some people have suggested that the person that she heard saying go in the opposite direction may have just been someone outside talking to someone else. It was by her window. There's other
Possibly.
people living in the complex. Or someone also theorized that maybe they were telling that person, go in the opposite direction because they were going the wrong way from their apartment, and it may have been someone who lived there.
Possibly.
There's a lot of theories. It's just a really, like I said, intriguing. It's very weird.
That
But
yeah.
we have another theory.
Okay.
Some people think that Kanika was the victim of serial killer Jason Thomas Scott, also known as the mother daughter killer. So, Jason Thomas Scott,
Mhm.
real serial killer name there, right?
they, they all have three names.
They all have 3 names. He was active at this time, the time of Kanika's murder, from June 2008 to March 2009 in Prince George's County, so in her area. Um, he murdered 5 women in the area. He actually, so this is kind of what it where the link comes from.
Mhm.
He was actually a part-time UPS worker, and
Oh,
yeah, he used the database there, to select, target, and gather information on his victims. So, I
so he
mean,
would
it's
know her
right,
name.
he would, but from the conversations with her mom, after her mom was interviewed and everything, it seemed like there were again, at least three different men.
Yeah, and serial killers usually work alone.
They do usually work alone. It
And
it was noted though that um he is suspected in other crimes, that he sometimes worked with other people, like burglaries and
oh,
assaults and stuff. So I don't know if that could possibly be it, but I mean it's very plausible.
now usually serial killers are sexually motivated. This doesn't seem to be sexually motivated murder.
um I There wasn't a whole bunch of information, but I don't think that he actually, any of his murders were sexually motivated.
Oh wow.
um he he was eventually sentenced in 2012 for the shooting and strangulation of those five women. Like I said, he's suspected of many other crimes, but he hasn't discussed or revealed any details about the murders, the crimes that he was convicted or suspected of. He hasn't said anything about his crimes. So
Okay.
we can't even they can't even really tie Kanika to him because he hasn't taking responsibility for the murders.
Okay, he a different kind of serial killer because
Right. He's not trying to be
a
all in.
lot of them, once they get arrested, they start talking
They start
because they want to
talking.
be known.
Right. Not him.
Okay.
I mean,
So is this, I mean, an active investigation? Are they still looking? Have they shelved the case?
again, most of what I found were old articles. The
Mm-hmm.
one was about 9 years old, and they said that there's a reward out, to call Crime Stoppers if you have any information. But I don't know if that's still active. If there's if this is a cold case that just went cold and sitting there, or if they're still actively looking for Kanika's murderer. It's possible that it was James Thomas Scott, but I don't think we would ever know from him.
Yeah, he wouldn't
Yeah,
talk.
so but he also was not known to use fake identities. So, the person did say, FBI, but he
Mm-hmm.
did kill at least three of his victims by shooting them. So it's kind of like, it could be. But here we are 14 years later, and there are no leads, no answers, no new information.
Wow. That's heartbreaking that, like you said, she did everything right. Everything. Not only pertaining to what was going on when they knocked at her door, but she was living her life right, as
Mm-hmm.
far as we can tell. She took all the right moves in life, and this is how her life ended.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
that's heartbreaking.
it is. And, Kanika's family has gotten no justice.
Right.
Her mom, Judy, she's gotten no justice for her daughter. But she seems to be a spiritual woman, and she believes that one day her daughter's killer will be found. Um, she does think that someone knows something and they're just not saying anything. Someone has to speak up for this case to be solved, and I kind of agree with her.
I agree. And usually when crimes involve more than one person, and it seems like in this case it does involve more than one person, usually there's a weak link that eventually will talk to somebody,
Yeah,
and hopefully that's what will happen.
maybe one day we will know something.
Yep. Wow, that was a very, very interesting, crazy
Right? I know.
roller coaster for our first case. And I just want to say that, our podcast is just starting, but if there's anyone who eventually hears this podcast and has any information, then, you know, is your duty to do the right thing and
Absolutely.
contact the police in, where is it?
Prince George's County, Maryland.
Yeah. And even if you think it's something super small that maybe has been nagging you, go ahead, contact the police department and let them know anything. I'm sure that can get this case started up again with help.
Yeah, I'm sure Kanika's family would be appreciative for sure. I mean,
Definitely.
I can't imagine just not knowing what happened to your daughter, to anyone
Yeah,
in your
it's been
family.
14 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
I told you it was very intriguing.
you did.
First episode down in the books. We just want to thank you all so much for joining us and listening in. We'll have a new episode posted every Wednesday.
Yes, and if you haven't subscribed, then go ahead and subscribe to the podcast so you don't ever miss an episode. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram so you can keep up with us as well. And we're going to post. Do you have a picture of Kanika that we can post on Instagram?
Yes,
Okay. We're going to post a picture of Kanika on Instagram so that you guys can leave your thoughts, your comments underneath that post and keep the conversation and hopefully the case alive as long as we can. We can do our part.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And by now, you guys should be finished with that cup of coffee. Break time is over. Please, if you can, rate and leave a review for the podcast so maybe we can get boosted in the algorithm of things on Spotify and Anchor.
That would help us, get more stories out.
Right. And this concludes our first podcast. We're so
Yay.
excited, and we will see y'all next Wednesday. Same time, same place.
Bye.
Bye.